Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lawler here. Lots of stuff to discuss this week on the YouTube channel due to the fact that the trade window for the spring split has officially come to an end. Now, with that said, that does not necessarily mean that these rosters have to be announced, and keep that in mind. But the only thing that is required right now is for teams to make sure that their official rosters for the RLCS spring split have been submitted to Psyonix. They do not have to make them public, but we do have some that have been made public despite that. Today's video, we're going to talk about one player in particular who is considered one of the, if not the GOAT of Rocket League. If you don't know who I'm talking about the four-time world champion Turbopolsa. And he has joined the likes of two other players that both very prolific in ability as well as just results, being moved to the bench. Two of those are going to be talked about in tomorrow's video as we talk about EU-focused things. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on those, make sure you guys hit subscribe and turn on notifications. But Turbopolsa, we found out today as he put out a tweet at 3:18 p.m. on April 17th. It's tough out here, and tagged two of those players. Again, more details on that tomorrow. And a lot of us are like, there is no way, according to the rumors and everything that have been going on, that Turbopolsa is also going to be a benched professional player in the spring split. And we got confirmations shortly after. Team Envy ended up putting out a tweet saying, announcing our RLCS roster for the spring split. Mist and Drees on the starting lineup, and their coach, Illusion, also now a starter, as they showcase in the video a clip from him playing against Team BDS at the fall split major. Now, the crazy thing about this is with Envy obviously deciding to move Turbo to the sub spot, that means that their former sub Flip is now kind of a free agent looking for his own thing, as they do say, hey, thanks for being part of the team. We wish you nothing but the best. The crazy thing about this is we actually discussed this in the video yesterday about the roster change, and in my Q&A video, what was going on with Envy. Is Turbo going to be a coach? What's the situation there? And one of the things we talked about is with Turbo's situation being in the United States. He has talked about how in North America, the money is definitely better. The salaries overall, people work a little bit harder, a lot of different benefits. And part of the difficulty is when you are an international talent, you have to have the support to make it a thing. And normally in these circumstances, a player of Turbo's caliber usually means he's going to get picked up right away, but not every team has the ability to immediately accommodate with travel, visas, and everything else needed to provide him structure to make sure that he is able to compete and play as a player in the United States. Which then gets you thinking, I talked about in yesterday's video as well, that there was rumors of Envy trying out multiple different iterations of their roster. I didn't know who the third player they were that they were trying out. Turns out they were keeping it internal with Illusion, who I think is still a solid option. But you look at this evolution of the team, and it does kind of make a little bit of sense if things tested out the way that they wanted them to. Like I mentioned, Drees Turbo, Mist Turbo, Drees Mist. Whatever that new player is, whichever one feels the best is probably the one they're going to go with. That is not to say that there's not more behind the scenes. That is stuff that we are not privileged to know. That is stuff that they have not made public. That is stuff that has not been talked about in public. So again, there is always that question mark surrounding the team about what is and what is the reasoning about why this has happened. But the only thing we do know for certain is that Illusion, Mist, and Drees are going to be the starting lineup for Envy moving forward into the next split for spring and for the foreseeable future, because this is the last trade window of the season. If Envy ends up performing well enough to go to the major, and through major results they end up qualifying, whether it be as a wild card or a guaranteed spot at the World Championship, they cannot make any changes. This is the decision they have decided to stick with for the remainder of the year, which is a very big deal. On the other side of it then is you try to look at the play style. Mist has definitely gone out of his way to transition into a more offensive heavy player. He still facilitates the midfield very well, shuts down a lot of things, but also over the course of his career when he transitioned onto Envy was for the main reason of, I have the ability to be a star player on the front side of the field. I have the ability to be a striker and really make a difference up here, which he has most definitely done. And you're pairing that with Drees. It seems as though that Illusion, who's been known as kind of a third man, even though we saw FaZe look their best when Illusion got more involved in offense, and I'm hoping we continue to see that. I hope we get to see the LAN Illusion that we saw in the earlier stages of the fall split major, where he is going for solo plays and hitting double touches and going for air dribbles and doing these types of things and providing that three-headed threat that is so prevalent right now in Rocket League. Now, what the team is going to look like, you can kind of assume that it is going to be Drees and Mist leading the charge with Illusion backing it up. But hopefully Illusion also sees the confidence and the capability and that space being provided when those opportunities present themselves for him as well. Again, this is going to be pretty interesting to see how this develops, but again, it's hard to take focus and be positive about the situation of Envy, but then also be like, you have a 4-time world champion sitting on your bench, and he is very good. I do not know if this is due to buyout costs. That's something that, and I guess that's kind of where I'm going with is, what is the reason for Turbo not playing? Maybe Illusion did outperform in scrims or whatever it is. They feel more comfortable with it. That is something I can accept. So be it. But I do know from what I've seen, and anytime they do a scuffed podcast with Rizzo, Turbo's pretty much just practicing the whole time. He talks about some of the mechanics that he's doing, and I don't know how much of it is banter or how much it is real or otherwise, but Turbo has been grinding. You can see it in his stats. The guy's been putting in a bunch of hours, and he is putting a ton of effort into the mechanical side of things. So despite this, what is the reason as to why he's having to sit on the bench? Is it due to buyout cost? Maybe it is too expensive based on the contract, and teams can't afford or aren't willing to pay for that to bring Turbo over. They don't think they can make back that money. Is it potentially the fact that there is no other organization that can support and provide that home that he needs, or the visa stuff, or whatever those other factors may be? There's a lot of things that go into these transfers, which, although it sucks for Turbo's situation, is also exciting for the grander view of esports. The fact that these types of things are now being put into consideration, these types of transfers are happening, and it might also be the shifting of the new guard. It may possibly be that, yes, some of our long-term pros that have been here since the beginning pretty much are now on their way out. Is that the case? I personally don't think so. I think Turbo still has plenty left in the tank. I think one of his biggest things, which credit to Sizz also mentioning it and saying it publicly, because I don't think it gets enough credit, is Turbo's mental. Anytime that I've seen Turbo, the guy cares and does a really good job. And yes, in his losses, he looks devastated, and rightfully so, because he cares so much about the game. It is his livelihood. But also in the middle of a series, he is very level-headed, and that helps a lot. There is a reason why the Ghost roster that never won anything immediately when he signed on won a tournament. It is a big thing that Turbo is known for doing. His mental is impeccable. So I'm interested to see what happens with Turbo. I'm excited to see where he goes. His mental's great, and his mechanics are getting better. So I still think he's got a lot left in his pro career. But again, it's a matter of if other people see that as well, whether it be in North America or if he decides to go back home and do something in Europe. I do not know, but I don't think this will be the last that we see of Turbo, and we've got a whole lot of this to talk about with other players as well coming up in videos. So with that said, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Turbo's done? Is this it for the 4-time? Is this the last time that we'll see him? Or are we going to see the resurgence yet again where he moves out of the sub role into a new team and ends up winning a world championship? You never know what might happen when it comes to Turbo Pulsa. And let me know how you guys feel about the new Envy roster. Do you think this is a good fit? Do you think this will work out in Envy's favor? Because obviously they need a strong bounce back here in spring. Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you enjoy the content, thumbs up, subscribe, and notifications. And look forward to more roster information coming out throughout the week before I head to Boston, which that is the last thing I will say before this video closes out. If you guys are going to PAX East in Boston this upcoming week, I'll be there. Come say hi. I'll be at the Intel booth. We'll catch you next time. Peace.